Mark on Comms, episode 2, and this is going to be Euroleague Women Week 1 and our big takeouts. That's what we're going to look into today. I'm going to go through some of the games, have a look at the results, have a look at the predictions that I made before the game, see how we got on there. Some good, some bad for sure. And then I'm going to give you my big takeouts from the week, some of the big questions that have certainly jumped out to me over the week. So let's jump into our slate of games and how they played out today. So as always, we had our 8 games this week for Euroleague Women in the first round, in the first game day. Split across 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We had action on all 3 days. On the Tuesday, we had 2 games to look at. Brno picking up their big win over Olympiacos, real statement there. Zaragoza holding out for the win against Polkowice. That was another good, strong performance for them. 4 games on the Wednesday. Lond with the biggest breath taker of the week as they took over DVTK by a single point in the dying seconds. Mersing, great job on the road against Bourges, coming away with a double-digit win there. Villeneuve d'Ascq, as predicted, as expected, came up quite a bit short against Fenerbahce as they've had big roster changes. Valencia, they came out with an unexpected, from my side, big win against Praha. On Thursday, 2 games to close out our first week of Euroleague Women. The first was Győr at home against Umana Reia. Reia really leaning into their youngsters, coming out with a pretty comfortable win in the end in that one. And then we closed out the week in Italy as Schio took on Avenida. I thought that one was going to be close. It certainly wasn't. Schio coming away with the big win in that one. So now we can look at exactly how I did in those predictions that I made last week. Not bad for a week 1. Week 1's always tough because you have no form to build on. You have no understanding of how certain players are going to step up or gel together on certain teams. So I'm pretty happy. 7 out of 8 correct. The one that I got wrong in a big way. I said that Praha, the stability of their roster was going to get them the win on the road in Valencia, who have quite a few new pieces. I was so wrong. Valencia put in a huge performance. Some big performances from some of their stars really pushed them on to that win. So absolutely wrong there. The other one that I was actually right with but wrong was the game in Italy, that last one, Schio against Avenida. I said that one screamed overtime to me. Avenida really struggled as Schio just, ran all over them for the full 40 minutes and big performances in that one. So 7 out of 8 for week 1, not too bad. I'll have my predictions for next week in our preview forecast in episode 3 of Mark on Comms. Okay, we're now going to have a look at the big takeouts that I have from this week. What are the things that I've learned or that I think are important that we can take from this first week of action? The first is around Lond. Are they this year's fairy tale team? Last year, we obviously had DVTK in the regular season. They did an amazing job and coming second in the regular season with only Fenerbahce above them in their group. Surprised a lot of people because they came through the qualifiers. Lond have come through the qualifiers. Could they be the French fairy tale this year? Villeneuve d'Ascq going all the way to the final last year. Lond looked pretty tough, pretty strong. They look like they brought together a good roster, particularly for the budget that they have. And for me, the early one that I'm asking is Lond going to step in and take up that fairy tale spot? I think potentially challenging them for that fairy tale spot could be Zabini Brno, based on that first week and how they played the game in the first week. They look pretty cool as well. So that's the kind of first takeaway I had. The next takeaway that I had, the second big takeout from week 1 that I had, was around how much have I underestimated Valencia. You know, this is me going back to my bad prediction from last week. I thought that Praha, their stability was going to get them the win. Valencia absolutely blew them out of the water. Looked really strong. Some of those pieces returning, new pieces coming in, putting in big performances, some vets, some young players. Do they have the balance? How much have I actually underestimated Valencia? Could they be the real deal this year? Could they look to go all the way and challenge for the trophy? Obviously, 1 week in the bag. We can't make too many judgments at this stage, but I certainly think it was interesting to see how big a performance they had so early in the season. The big takeout of the week is around Schio, and are Schio the real deal? I think maybe they've done some of the best business in the off-season. The arrival of Genèse Salon is going to be huge for them. What a week 1 she had, without standout, absolute shadow of a doubt. She was the player of the week for me. And alongside Jasmine Keys, I love that as a combo. It means that Solon doesn't necessarily have to do all that scrappy, physical, hustle stuff that she had to do last season for Villeneuve d'Ascq. That's what Keys does. Keys will pick up that physicality, enabling to Solon to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more influential on how the game's going to be played. I think Skio have taken some big steps forward with the roster they've got here. More balance, more depth, a good mix of veterans and some experience there with some of the younger players as well. Excited to see how they progress. My final big takeaway, and this is a bit of a leap into the unknown, but the question that I'm asking is, should we already be worried about some teams? There are 3 clear teams that after week 1, we have some alarm bells ringing potentially for them. Olympiacos, Győr and Villeneuve d'Ascq, all heavy defeats. And I do have concerns that maybe the rosters they've brought together doesn't have enough firepower, particularly offensively, to win them enough games early in the season. Remember, with the new format, you've got to get up and running early. You've got to get wins in the early few weeks. Otherwise, before you know it, you're going to be dumped out of Euroleague Women. And I do wonder, will they be able to fight back from that? I know there's still players coming back from injury, particularly for Villeneuve d'Ascq. They had considerable injury issues in game 1 for them. They were missing 2 very key players for them, and other teams, absolutely, Győr and Olympiacos, in similar situations. But they can't afford week 2 to come out and have similar level of performances. Wins are one thing, but the performance level absolutely has to go up here in week 2 if I'm going to have a bit more confidence that they are in with a chance of making it through to the second round, and who knows, maybe even further into the play-ins and maybe through to the final 6. It's week 1. These are huge leaps of guesswork to a certain degree, but always interesting to have a look after those first games of, are there any worry signs? Are there any teams that we think might have to make some moves in free agency and bring some reinforcements in to get them the wins they need early in the year? Okay, before I leave you for today, let's have a quick look at next week's run of games. Wednesday, Thursday games this week, a little bit more traditional. That's what we're going to have for the majority of the season. Wednesday, we have 5 games for you. Mersin against Brno, Fenerbahce against Zaragoza, Polkowice against Villeneuve d'Ascq, Praha Győr, and DVT Skio. That's our games for Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we have a triple header as Olympiacos go up against Bourges, Avenida against Lens, Raya against Valencia. They are our 8 games next week. I'll be back early next week with episode 3 of Mark on Comms as we do a week 2 deep dive preview. I'll give you my thoughts on those games, which ones are the ones to look out for, which ones I'll be covering, and obviously I'll be putting myself up on offer again. I'll be giving you my predictions for the week. Until then, I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you early next week, and hopefully see you during some of the games that I'll be covering as well.